Chapter 23, The Urinary System. Introduction. Urinary system relates to the body of waste products, usually metabolic wastes of the body, extra hormones, sugar, or any other things in the body that's in excess. The urinary system is closely associated with the reproductive system. It has a shared embryonic development and adult anatomical relationship, so it starts out the same, and in functional unit, it remains close to each other. They're collectively called the urogenital system. Anatomy and of the urinary system. So it's retroperitoneal. In other words, it sits right. The peritoneal cavity is where all of the the digestive organs are. Not all of them, but the small intestine and all of the stuff is in the peritoneal cavity, within the peritoneal envelope. And so right behind that is where the kidney is, and the liver sits right here on the right side. That's why the right kidney is slightly lower in comparison to the left kidney. Um, the functions of the kidneys. Filters blood plasma, separates wastes from useful chemicals, returns useful substances to blood, and eliminates wastes. Regulates blood volume and pressure by eliminating or conserving water. Regulates the osmolarity of the body fluids by controlling the relative amounts of water and solutes eliminated, so it keeps it at around 300. Secretes enzyme renin, which activates hormonal mechanisms that control blood pressure and electrolyte balance. Renin activates the angiotensin system, and angiotensin 2 is a powerful hormone that that does a whole number of, a large number of things, and renin is secreted from the juxtaglomerular cells, which we're going to be looking into later, and it sets the entire thing in motion. But the angiotensin does go into angiotensin 2 even without renin, but that's not the system. So the function of the kidneys secretes hormone erythropoietin, which stimulates the production of red blood cells. So just like the liver and the spleen, the kidneys are constantly monitoring the blood flow. Like the heart gets 5 liters of blood per minute, and the kidneys get about a liter of blood per minute. So it gets a large amount of blood um, going through the kidneys. Collaborate with the lungs to regulate the PCO2 and acid-base balance of body fluids. Final step in synthesizing hormone calcitriol. So this is for the calcium homeostasis. The vitamin D becomes calcitriol in its active form, so that it could absorb and make use of the calcium. The acid-base balance it either secretes or holds on to the hydrogen atoms, and it also holds on to the sodium bicarbonate or releases them depending on the acid, whether the body is more acidic or alkaline. Gluconeogenesis from amino acids and extreme starvation. So this is the retroperitoneal position of the kidneys. So here's the peritoneum, and here's the peritoneum here, and this is the peritoneal cavity, and the kidneys are right here. Now, in the kidneys, it's a bean-shaped organ, and right along the concave side, the convex is going to be the outer C, and the inside C is going to be the concave part. There's a part called the hilum. The hilum is the middle part right here, where the nerves and the arteries and the veins come in. So it's covered by 3 outer layers. So the first layer is going to be called the renal fascia. Just like the muscle fascia, the renal fascia is going to be the outer covering, and also the renal fascia is connected to the peritoneum in the front, and in the back it's connected to the lumbar fascia back here. And right in the middle, there is a layer of fat called the perineal fat capsule. So just like the fat right here in the spinal cord or in the eye, it serves to kind of cushion the kidneys. And then once we are inside, we have the fibrous capsule, which is going to be collagen fibers. So the collagen fibers are going to be actually extending from here all the way down to the renal fascia. so it keeps a nice it keeps it from moving. But there is a minimal moving when from like when you're lying down to getting up. It kind of goes slower, and damage to the kidneys and things like that could because the kidneys are pretty much floating in the thing, so it could detach and go further down. So the nitrogenous waste that are secreted by the kidneys. So wastes are any substance that is useless to the body or present in excess amount of the body's needs. Metabolic wastes are waste products, waste substances produced by the body. Urea formation. So you got protein that's when they break down or called hydrolyses. Lysis is in dying, and water is hydro, so it kind of like death by water. So we got protein, and proteins have this amino group and the carboxyl group, and there's the H on the top, and then on the bottom is going to be the functional difference that makes up the protein. So the amino part, when it breaks down, it quickly which is NH2, it forms ammonia, and the NH2 automatically wants to be NH3. But NH3 is ammonia and is very toxic. So NH3 becomes urea or uric acid, actually urea, because the lethal dose of ammonia is like 0.015 milliliters per kilogram, and urea is like 15 kilograms, I think I read. So then we have uric acid, which is from purine-rich food. Purines are going to be two of the create. It's not guanine. It's from the nucleic acids, and then we have creatinine from the breakdown of creatinine phosphate. So these four are going to be the um, nitrogenous wastes that are really harmful to the body. So we have blood urea nitrogen, expression of the level of nitrogenous waste in the blood. Normal concentration of blood urea is around 10 to 20 milligrams per deciliter. Azotemia is elevated BUN, indicates renal insufficiency. And uremia is syndrome of diarrhea, vomiting, dyspnea. That's when you have too much urea. Dyspnea, cardiac arrhythmia stemming from the toxicity of nitrogenous wastes. Treatment includes hemodialysis or organ transplant. In other words, hemodialysis, if your kidneys are not functioning, then you need dialysis outside of from the through the body, or you need a new kidney. So the uric acid is also the thing um, that gives you gout by forming crystals in the articular cartilages. So excretion. Excretion is the separation of waste from body fluids and the elimination of them. Four body systems carry out excretion. Respiratory system, CO2, small amounts of other gases, and water. Integumentary system is going to be water, inorganic salts, lactic acid, and urea and sweat. Um, Digestive system is going to be water, salts, CO2, lipids, bile pigments, cholesterol, and other metabolic wastes, and food residue. So urinary system, it's going to be many metabolic wastes. In other words, like almost like some of the hormones, it's going to include anything that's in the blood or the anything in the body that could be taken to the blood. So many metabolic wastes, toxins, drugs, hormones, salts, hydrogen, and water. So position, weight, and size lie against a posterior abdominal wall at level T12 to L3. Right kidney is slightly lower due to a large right lobe of liver. Rib 12 crosses the middle of the left kidney and is retroperitoneal, as in behind the peritoneal cavity, along with the ureters, urinary bladder, renal artery, vein, and adrenal glands. Shape and size is about the size of a bar of soap. Its lateral surface is going to be convex. Convex is more outwards, and concave is going to be the narrower part. And with a slit in the middle where the blood vessels come in, the nerves, the arteries, and the veins. So the slit's called the hilum, and it receives renal nerves, blood vessels, lymphatics, and ureter. Three protective connective tissues. So we have the renal fascia immediately deep to the parietal peritoneum. binds it to the abdominal wall. So the fascia is going to be the outermost covering, followed by the perineal fat. Um, that's going to be the that's going to cushion kidney and hold it into place. And then we have the fibrous capsule, which is going to be enclosing the kidney and protecting it from trauma and infection. Collagen fibers extend from the fibrous capsule to renal fascia. It still drops about 3 centimeters when going from lying down to standing up. So the only part that's important here is that the collagen fibers from the fascia, um, actually from the fibrous capsule, is going to extend all the way through the perineal fat capsule and attach it to the renal fascia. Then we have the gross anatomy of the kidney. Well, the picture is a whole lot better. Where is that? Right here. So here's the renal capsule, and then we have the actually no, the fibrous capsule is here, but right on top of that, or not on this picture, but it would have the fat followed by the renal fascicle. And here we have the renal parenchyma. Parenchyma is in any organ, it's the functional part of the organ. So it's gonna be this part right here. That's gonna be the parenchyma, or the functional unit. So glandular tissue that forms urine appears C-shaped in frontal section, encircles the renal sinus. Renal sinus is always the whole of the empty space, or relatively empty space, as in comparison to everything else. So this is going to be the sinus, and the parenchyma is going to be everything else right here that covers that encircles the sinus. So renal sinus contains blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, nerves, and urine collecting structures. Adipose fills the remaining cavity and holds structures into place. We have two zones of renal parenchyma, the outer renal cortex and the inner renal medulla. The cortex is basically going to be this part right here. So that's going to be the cortex, and this is going to be the medulla. Medulla is going to have the pyramidal structures and these columns right in the middle. So both of those are going to be making up renal pyramids. And there are roughly around 6 to 10 of these renal pyramids, with the broader side of the pyramid facing downwards into these calyxes. Calyx, which means cups. So these are little cups, or minor calyx, that empty into the big cup, or major calyx, that in turn empties into the renal pelvis. And then that's the ureter. Going back to the thing. So we have renal pyramid 6 to 10 with broad base facing cortex, and renal papilla facing the sinus. Papilla, it's going to be this thing right here. So the renal papilla is going to be the um, the not sharper, the duller end of the pyramid. So where the pyramid, like these are all nephrons, and it's collecting tubules, and they all empty into this part. The minor calyx, wherever it's attached to, it's called the renal papillae, I think. So lobe of the kidney is going to be one pyramid, and its outer overlaying cortex. So this followed by this is going to be one lobe. The minor calyx is going to be the smaller cup that is right here. Where's the mouse? Right here. And then followed by major calyx, which so one minor calyx for each of the pyramid, and a couple of 3 or 4 of the minor calyx going to be emptying into one major calyx, and those major calyxes are going to be emptying into the renal pelvis. In other words, here's the renal papillae. That's going to be emptying into the minor calyx, which in turn empties into the major calyx, which in turn empties into the renal pelvis, which is the whole thing, and that empties into the ureter. That takes the urine all the way down to the bladder and waits for it to be relieved. And when it does, it goes through the urethra and out the exit. So that's that.